This is a new segment I'm going to be calling, I don't know yet. I'm just kind of jumping into this whole like video thing. YouTube being? Yeah. So, I don't know. I just wanted to like set aside a piece on my channel to upload regularly about things that go on in my head, reasoning, philosophy, theology stuff. I don't know. This like sitting in your car talking thing is kind of a popular trope. Can you call that? Is it a trope when it's a video? I know it's in writing. A format. There you go. Format. So I thought I'd try it and see how it goes. And so yeah, this is probably gonna be like a 3-part series, idea. I got 3 things. I brought some notes prepared. Obviously not for this part in particular. Is this even focusing on me? Okay, let's get into this. I'm just gonna start out right off the bat. Your faith or religion should inform your identity, your politics, and your life decisions, but your faith and religion should not define them. What? Okay, before you stone me for like heresy, because I know a lot of you are from faith-based perspective, hear me out. If you raise a child to believe that their identity is completely and wholly based and defined on what they think or believe about God, or whatever, then as soon as they run into something that causes them to question whether or not God is real, if they think that maybe they're wrong about their faith, their entire identity goes with that. And then they just lose any type of like confidence or value they had in themselves as a person because everything that they believed is wrong. Well, at least that's what they think. As opposed to if they have an identity and the ability to reason and think about things objectively, and then they run into something that conflicts with their beliefs, then they have the ability to be like, okay, well, I have always believed this, but just because this may not be true, that doesn't mean that everything about myself that I believe is untrue as well. So if you link identity to your belief in God or belief in the earth being round or anything like that, something that you cannot verifiably prove yourself, something that you have to take on faith, based on evidence, based on whatever, then as soon as that thing becomes untrue, everything that you believe about yourself is untrue because they're inextricably linked together. If their identity is wrapped up in their faith, which can change, their identity will change if their faith changes. If their faith crashes and burns, that's when it's a problem. That's the problem with going to college, perhaps. If you believe one thing your entire life and you go to college and you find out like, oh, whoa, things are different. Oh, then all of a sudden, what's true anymore? About yourself or about anything? So I see a lot of people in college, it's part of my job. If they have their faith challenged and they start having different opinions about what their parents taught them, then suddenly everything about their personhood goes up into the air to be decided at a later date. They go through this like several year period of time trying to find themselves again, figure out who they are. If you ask me, college is not the place for this. Mainly, though, it's expensive. Why don't we just if you want someone to go find themselves, why don't we give them $50,000 and let them go travel to Europe and Africa and Asia and Australia? Because you can travel to all those places for less than a 2-year degree. College is a lot easier, and I think you get more out of it when you go into it knowing who you are and what you want, and you're not willing to take out $100,000 in debt to just figure it out. So instead of bringing up children, trying to convince them that this is true, we should teach people how to think for themselves so they can decide if this is true. Honestly, I don't think God needs a million other people blindly believing in him, not knowing why they believe in him. Especially if they stop believing in him as soon as some college professor says, the problem of evil basically proves God doesn't exist. It doesn't. The problem of evil has been around for a millennia. Like, the problem of evil, specifically, the philosophical argument that because evil exists, that God cannot exist, or does not exist, or God is evil. That has been around for a very long time. And there's ways to think about that and talk about it. And like, just because evil exists does not mean that I think God is not real. Like, and I can have a reasonable conversation about why I think that's untrue. without getting angry or feeling like my whole life is a lie or anything like that. So I don't think God really needs anything from us, but I do definitely think that He could use some more people that can think and discuss things that are controversial or hard in a real and a humble but powerful way. Yeah, and I think that a faith that is chosen, that is tested, and that is tried, and then chosen again, basically, like, you don't just choose your faith once. You continuously choose to have faith. And when you continuously choose to have faith, despite temptations and trials and whatever, that was really Christianese. Trials and temptations. That faith is so much more real, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. This is all just my opinion. I'm also of the opinion that faith in Christ should be modeled before it is taught. If you have an opinion founded in religion and faith, then you should live that opinion first before you expect anyone else to validate or follow that opinion. Or whatever. You think you shouldn't lie, you should not lie. And you should not lie before you expect other people to not lie. You should give them personal evidence as to why lying is a bad idea and why not lying is a good idea. If you give them more evidence to suggest that not lying is a good idea, then you have a little bit of, credence. Credence? What you say has more credence when you say you shouldn't lie. Because look, I don't lie. Look at all this. You should model your faith before you expect your children to follow your faith. Because if you don't, then it's ridiculous. Why would anybody want to believe what you believe if it has no effect on their life, or they become like some self-righteous hypocrite who just goes around judging people all the time? Believe me, people think that's what Christians do. Seriously. When you model what you can believe to your family and to other people around you, then you have a little bit of business talking about, or convincing other people to believe what you believe. You have a little bit more business saying, oh, hey, look, here's this thing I believe in, follow me. And you're like, whoa, wait, hey, I don't want them to follow me. I want them to follow Jesus. That's nice. Guess what? If you tell someone that, hey, I believe this thing and you should do this thing too, because I believe it and we should believe it together, then in effect, you're saying, hey, come follow me to this thing that I found that's cool and I believe it. And you're asking them to follow you. And if you can't give them a good reason to follow you, then you shouldn't ask them to follow you, because they're gonna what are you doing? Why? No. I see how you live your life. I'm not about that, bruh. Just like that, just like in that voice and everything. So we need to model our faith. And then we also need to let people question it. No. Don't question anything. No, stop. No. The whole Reformation was about, don't blindly follow what all the priests in the Roman place are telling you about the Bible. Go read it for yourselves, people. And question it and see if it is true. We don't need more people blindly believing all the things. We need more people thinking about them. Well, okay, reading them for themselves, because, wow, don't get me started on biblical literacy. The people I interact with have no idea what the Bible really says. They read it once, maybe. maybe they read it once. Yeah, you don't just read Lord of the Rings once and you have a complete understanding of the history of Middle-earth. That's not how it works. You immerse yourself in that. Come on. You want to learn about, where the elves came from? You've got to read, 6 books. And then you've got to read the other 2 that came before it. And then you got to, it's a process. And you've got to reread some stuff. You got to go back and, wait, Galadriel's, 7,000 years old? Are you serious? She, fought off the, Witch King of Angmar? What? Crazy. Yeah, look, you don't just get that by watching the movies and skimming through the books once. My point is, People don't know what's in the Bible because they haven't read it. And then if they do know what's in the Bible, they don't think about it and then they don't question it. They just be like, oh, okay, cool. That's what's in the Bible. No, we need more people who can like think about it and question it and think critically and then choose to whether or not they believe it. If someone chooses the faith that they have, someone chooses to believe something because of what they've learned and what they've experienced, it's a lot more powerful than someone who just believes because that's what mom and dad believe. This is part one of your faith should inform your identity, your politics, and your life decisions. Your faith should not dictate or define those things. This one being about your identity. Those things should come about because of your faith. They should not be wrapped up in your faith. Faith should be chosen, not something that you just mindlessly walk into. Hey, if you like this video, like, subscribe, comment below. If you didn't like it, also do those things. Just comment more nicely. Please. I'm really willing to have like a decent conversation about people that disagree with me. That's what this whole thing is about. So if you do have disagreements or qualms with anything that I said, let me know. And we'll talk about it. I will probably even make a video response to comments and questions if I get enough of them. Until then, be reasonable, people.